Soulful shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, just some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hear me. Woo! I mean, like, we can pull that clown shit away. This some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse of only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
What's happening, people? Man, we are back in the building. Guys, please make sure you are smashing the like, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And welcome to GTV. You guys already know why we are here. Of course, over the last couple of days, as mentioned, we're doing the top 4 title chances for the rest of the season. If you haven't watched the other videos, please make sure it will be somewhere, I guess, scrolling across the top. If not, you'll find the videos at the end, and it will be, in my videos anyway, so make sure you guys obviously check them out. We've spoken about a few of the other teams. We're now getting down to the last 2, and that's obviously Manchester City, and then tomorrow's episode will be Liverpool. So we've spoken about Chelsea, we've spoken about Arsenal. Today we're on Manchester City. Now obviously here, Man City is an interesting one. Very interesting one. Now, we all know Manchester City. We know what they're about. We know what they're on. We know their vibe, everything about Manchester City. So to kind of see where they're at this current moment in time is a bit weird. It's very weird because, yes, we've seen, Manchester City, currently 5 points, behind Liverpool. Yes, we've seen them in positions before where you could potentially say, you know what, it's not really, do you know what I mean? It's not really going too well for them at the beginning of the season. That's usually how it all starts, right? You guys, you've heard me speak about City. You already know my vibe on Pep. Pep's my favorite manager ever of all time. Obviously, what he's done with Barcelona, the things he's done with Bayern Munich, and then of course what he's done with Manchester City. But obviously, we've seen Manchester City in positions before, where it's been like, yeesh, you know what, not really looking too great, and blah blah blah, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, we've seen all of that. We've seen all that stuff, right? I'm trying to figure out a way to say this, so that it doesn't come across any type of way to upset anybody, because I know how people are, when it comes to these kind of things. But I feel like when it comes to, a Man City, the inevitable or the expectancy is that they're going to go from here, 5 points behind now, and at some point Liverpool will drop off, and then, whatever, Liverpool drop off, and then, Man City do what they always do. For some weird reason, they'll have games in hand. Once they've got those games in hand, then it's kind of curtains, it's game over, blah, 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 we're all done, yada, yada, yada. That's usually the kind of vibe that, we kind of get. But when we're looking at their last few results, I mean, listen, look, they've lost their last 4 games. And I think it's the second time, I believe. I saw something say it was the first time. I think it has happened to him before at Bayern Munich. It never happened at Barcelona. Of course, it would have not with that team. That's a myth. But it's happened at Bayern Munich, I believe. And it's now happened here, for the first time at Manchester City. Pep losing 4 in a row. Different competitions, by the way, not all in the Premier League, Carabao Cup, and Champions League. Those are the 3 competitions that he's lost the 4 games in, right? I don't know what it is. I really don't know. It's like I'm trying not to go down I'm not trying to follow the trend of what people are saying, so to speak, in terms of, yeah, City, look, because we've done this. So, listen, yes, do I think that City are as strong as they have been before? No, I don't think so. I think there is obviously Rodri, being injured at this current moment in time, I think is playing, a massive part. Of course it is. He's one of, he's their best, if not one of, he's one of whatever players, but let's just say for the sake of argument, he's their best player, right? In terms of out and out, he's their best player. He just won a Ballon d'Or. So, of course, I've got to give him that respect. him being injured is obviously messing up Saturn. I think their record with and without him is like, you know, chalk and cheese, to be honest with you. You know, it's not really good when he's not playing in the team. So I get all of that. On top of that, you know, they are, you know, there's players like Kevin De Bruyne, you know, I think he's been a bit injured as well, you know, didn't really start the season. Been on the bench a good few times, coming off the bench, like these little weird cameos and stuff like that. I've heard a few things with Kevin De Bruyne, but again, I'm not even really here to get into that because I don't know. That's for City fans to kind of tell you. But when I think of Manchester City, I'm just like something in my head, and I don't know if obviously I'm only basing this purely off of what I've seen before. But I feel like it's deja vu with them. I like, honestly, guys, I know you probably think I'm mad, and I know people are gonna, you know, be watching this and be like, nah, G, it's different, it's different, it's different. It's like when, it's like if you're you know, in a relationship or whatever, and the guy is saying, nah, babe, like, you know, you like, this is the 10th time that you've broken up and gotten back together, but he's saying, no, trust me, babe, like, it's gonna be different this time. Do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna cheat on you, and I'm not gonna do this, and I'm not gonna do that. And I feel like man's heard this one before, though. I've heard this one before. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's going to be good for a little while. And in this context, it's going to be, yeah, they're going to be, you know, a bit janky, potentially coming back after the internationals. Obviously, they've still got to face Spurs. They've still got to face Liverpool, you know, in the Premier League as well. So listen, it could all look so different come like the Christmas period time. But then you just know, I don't know what it is. I don't know what type of voodoo they've got, you know, over the Premier League and stuff like that. But as soon as it hits like February times, they just go boom. And then all of a sudden, like I said, it's just weird because, and it's usually because Liverpool might get to like latter stages in recent years anyway. Liverpool might get to like a latter stages of the, you know, the Carabao Cup. And, you know, obviously if you get into the latter stages, then you got to play the final, for example. That means you're going to miss a couple Premier League games. Now they're going to have, you know, I don't know, just weird stuff. Usually it used to actually happen to Manchester City because of those games that they were missing, because they were getting to the Carabao Cup final. That's when they would catch up. Obviously, they've been knocked out now. So now, you know what I mean? What does that mean, you know, moving forward for them? Would that help them? Would that, it might actually help them because of the injuries and stuff that they, you know, they have got, you know, this season. But I don't know, February times, I just always feel, or between December and February, they just seem to always have like a 2-3 game in hand. I don't know how it happens, but they just do, just weirdly enough. And then all of a sudden now, sometimes they might not even go top from that. It will be more, they've just closed the gap. And once they start closing the gap and they're breathing down your neck, yeah, it becomes a bit long. It becomes a little bit long, you know, when it comes to Manchester City. And I feel like that's the kind of vibe that I'm almost getting. I'm obviously, you guys already know, you check the comment section, you'll see my you know, my percentage of the chance I give Manchester City. So hopefully, obviously, watch the end of this, and then let me know, of course, in the comment section what percentage that you're going to give Manchester City, you know, to actually, you know, go ahead and, you know, win this Premier League at this moment in time. Of course, we are only looking at it after 11 games. We'll keep doing this, obviously, after 20 games, you know, whenever that period kind of comes, and then obviously after 30 games, and then, you know, that will be the last one before we, you know, head out and stuff like that. But okay, I'm trying to compose myself. So the way that Manchester City have been playing recently, right? Obviously, this was their previous lineup. Yeah, this is against obviously Brighton, which they lost 2-1 in that game. Obviously, Haaland scoring, but then, you know, Brighton were able to, you know, get the victory right in the end. No worries, cool. Obviously they lost 4-1 to Sporting Lisbon as well, lost 2-1 against Spurs, and then obviously I think lost to Bournemouth as well. So they've had some kind of results in there where you're like, oh, all right, I didn't expect the Sporting one, didn't expect the Brighton one. I mean, the Bournemouth one, the Brighton one. I would say I didn't expect it, but I feel like okay, that one could happen. Fair enough. The Spurs one in the cup, I don't really feel like they cared too much about it. I'm not saying people don't care to lose. Nobody wants to lose. No one goes out there to lose, but that one, I kind of didn't really think about that one too tough. Obviously, it's just a part of their run, but I didn't think about it too much. I was like, yeah, whatever, it's just a cup game, like, no one really cares. So you just move on. And in their head, I guess they would have looked at it as, all right, yeah, we lost that game. It is what it is, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Let's just move on to the next game kind of thing and hopefully get the victory. Obviously, it just gets worse. It looks worse because then you've lost, you know, more games after that point. now it's like, whereas if you'd won a couple of games, you know, after that, it doesn't look so bad, you know, so to speak. But now because it's been compiled into kind of one in this run, that's why it looks a bit fugazi and etc. etc. But anyways, when we're looking at it in terms of, you know, for City, this is obviously their last game. So you can see they've got Pusey at the back, kind of like a back three, but we know City is not. But let's just stick with the formation we can see actually on the screen, because they play something else. But they've got Pusey at the back, obviously the young centre back, obviously with Vardio, Carl Walker playing as like another centre back, you know, back in there. Rico Lewis in the middle, Kovacic, you know, Mateus Nunes, you know, kind of playing that left midfield, left wing kind of role. And obviously Gundogan is obviously in there with Foden, Savinho, and then Erling Haaland. So obviously they're missing players like Ake, players like John Stones. Obviously Akanji didn't play in this game, or isn't in the, you know, starting lineup. Obviously Kevin De Bruyne, Rodri, you know, they're missing players. That's the maddest thing. But you know me, I don't really like doing the injury stuff. Like for me, I don't really care about anybody's injuries. I'll be honest. I never cared when Liverpool got the injuries. I don't care that Arsenal got in or had injuries. I don't care that Manchester City's got injuries. I actually don't care unless it gets so dire where you're like almost a little bit like what kind of happened to Liverpool kind of last season. But I would actually more say Newcastle, because of the players that they actually were starting to use at points. And you know, they had to be honest, they really have any players, you know, at one point where you're like, Jesus Christ, like then you can see the team that they're fielding because they haven't got any other real players to play. Yes, you can play the academy and all that stuff, whatever, but you know what I mean, they haven't really got many players. So when you get to them kind of depths, like Liverpool and Newcastle last season, I was like, all right, cool, fairs. I know Chelsea fans will be like, yeah, but what about us? I'm like, yeah, but you got so many players. It's like you're now just picking in terms of quality more than anything. You know, you've got players in there where some teams literally man has to play players from the under 21s. Like I'm having to call up academy guys to sit on the bench just because we don't have the numbers. And also as well, people need to remember, it's not just about calling up anybody. You know what I mean? Like, man, just not going to call up some random under 21 and just like, yeah, just come sit on the bench. No, it's not going to be like that. At the end of the day, do we feel that in this dire situation, are you at least good enough to make that bench? Like with everything that's been, you know, all the context included and etc. Yes, cool. And I feel like, you know, unless it's in those kind of situations, I don't really care. But let's just say, put that aside. For me, it's the way that you're playing. I feel like that's where Manchester City are kind of like going a little bit wrong, you know, so to speak. And again, listen, who am I to tell Manchester City, you know, what's right and wrong? These guys are the kings of the Premier League right now. You know what I mean? 4 in a row, trying to go for the 5th. Yeah, like I'm not trying to sit here in that kind of position and trying to talk down to Manchester City. I would never do that. But I do look at it and think this season alone, the reason why I feel like your chances are getting slimmer and slimmer is, listen, at the end of the day, you are only 5 points behind. And we know for Man City, that's easy. They can catch that any day of the week. They've scored the most goals, I believe, in the Premier League. Or they've scored more goals than Liverpool anyway in the Premier League, but they've conceded far more goals, you know, than Liverpool in the Premier League. So you can tell straight away just by looking at it, okay, so that's a problem straight away, you know, off the rip. That's an area we do need to, you know, sort out, which is we need to stop conceding goals. We've conceded more than double, you know, what Liverpool have. Cool, we're scoring goals and we've scored more, but we're conceding more than double. It's too easy to play through Manchester City, though. That's my issue. Well, that's the issue I feel that Manchester City are having right now, is it's too easy to just play through them. And the longer that continues, and if you've still got players out, obviously Rodri's out for whatever, Kevin De Bruyne, I don't really know. You know, and all these other players, the Kanji, I say Kanji, but you know, the Nathan Ake's, you know, these kind of players, if they don't play consistently and you're still playing with the same team that, you know, I just showed you guys there, if that happens, bro, you're gonna lose more games. You hear what I'm saying? As great as I believe Pep Guardiola is, it's going to be difficult. And listen, look, at the end of the day, they are still second, you know, but as great as he is, it's going to be difficult to continuously keep winning games. Then you're going to have to try and find a different formula. That's what I am quite shocked about, more than where they're at this moment in time. Man City losing games, I've seen them lose games, even in their heyday, even when they were like, they looked, you know, unbeatable. I've seen them then lose games, but they were just like one-offs. This season is becoming more of a formality. Again, they've dropped points in 4 games in the Premier League alone this season. Yeah, that kind of tells you something. We already played 11, so that means in 7 other games you've won. So in those 4 games, 2 wins, 2 draws. What's happening? And again, it's too easy to play against Manchester City at times, cutting through constantly. It's like gaping holes, you know, through the middle, right to the back, just holes. And that's where I feel like, yo, Pep, like you need to pattern up, because if you don't pattern up, yeah, it's gonna start looking real scary for you. Like honestly, it's gonna look real scary. Listen, I know everyone keeps talking about January. Forget January. We're still 2 months away from that, so we don't need to worry about that at this current moment in time, because they need to get to January in a respectable position. Like I said, they're there now, but things could look different. They've still got Tottenham to play. They've still got Liverpool to play. You know what I mean? Those are big games for them now, like super big now. Like they for them, if we're just talking just for Man City, they have to win those games. And it's not like before, like, yeah, you got to win those games because, you know, if you're trying, no, they have to win those games. Lose those games, all of a sudden now, yeah, you're battling top 4s and stuff, because the league just moves so quickly, especially if Liverpool were to go ahead and win, obviously, the game against Manchester City and also win, you know, their game against, you know, Southampton. The league moves so quick. Other teams start catching up. Chelsea, Arsenal, they start, you know, if they win their next 2 games after the international break, now it just starts looking a bit crazy. All of a sudden, poof, you're kind of not out of it. No one's ever out of it. You're not out of it until you're actually out of it. But it starts becoming a lot tougher for you to be able to, you know, get yourself back up there. But yeah, for me, one of the main things is just that, you know, in terms of it's just too easy to play against Manchester City, and it never ever used to be like that. At least one thing you could say is coming up against City, that's a difficult one. We know going forward in terms of like in an attacking sense, they're kind of relatively the same. Yes, they're still missing a few pieces. Obviously, you got Erling Haaland. He's still doing what he's doing, to be honest with you. Like, you can consider this not even a great season from Haaland or whatever, but 16 games and 15 goals. I feel like he's not crying about anything. But then, you know, when you start looking at it, at the other players, obviously, listen, look, I like Savinho. I think he's a really good player, but 15 games, 5 assists in all competitions, 3 in the Premier League. I'm like, yeah, may need a bit more in terms of goals, because you've got no goals whatsoever. Doku as well, you know, 8 games in the Premier League, 1 goal, 1 assist. They need more from their other players. The Matheus Nunes's, you know, the Jack Grealishes and all these kind of players. I mean, look, this is just the statistics in the Premier League alone. Haaland is what you expect. I expect those kind of numbers first and foremost, but I expect him to be out there, you know, in terms of the goals. But I'm sorry, City, your next goal scorer cannot be on 3. I don't care who it is, even if it is Kovacic, he cannot be on 3. That doesn't make sense. He cannot be on 3. That's not the City that we, like I say, that we remember. The Mahrez's, you know, even the Gabriel Jesus's when he was there. You know, these kind of guys, Sterling, these men getting numbers alongside your central striker, whether it's Aguero, heck, you know, go back to the Dzeko times, and even like can't be on 12 and the next guy's on 3, and the next guy who's even on 3 is alongside a defender, and then after that is the next defender. So where's Doku? Where's Matheus Nunes? Where's Grealish? Where's Savinho? Them man need to start pulling their weight as well. Do you get what I'm saying? Savinho's sitting there on 2 assists in the Premier League. Your next best after that is Bernardo Silva on 3. So he's helped to assist 3 goals this season. That's not going to help you in the long run. I feel like Pep knows this. He needs to get. I get it. Haaland is Haaland at the end of the day. Like I say, Haaland is a machine. He is a boss. He is an elite finisher. Put the ball in the back of the net. But you need to be able to get your other guys involved, especially if you're missing other pieces at the back, because then the over-reliance on Haaland becomes a lot more glorified. It becomes a lot more magnified, because you're like, bro, if Haaland don't score, you know, I think the game against Brighton was the first time since he's been at Manchester City that Haaland has scored in a game and lost. That's the first time it's ever happened. That's mad, considering this is his third season. Yeah, this is his 3rd season, you know, with the club. So in 2 and a bit years, this is the first time it's happened, coinciding with the fact that they're missing, you know, players like Rodri, their Kanjis, the Kevin De Bruyne's and stuff like that. Team looking a bit thin, you know, in terms of quality, so to speak. They still got quality in other players. Listen, look, players like Gundogan need to buck up their ideas. I do think they need to play, you know, he needs to play a little bit better. You know, considering, I know I'm not saying he needs to go back to the levels that we remember Gundogan at, but I do think he needs to up his game a little bit. I do feel that. Foden, I feel like he's in this weird space at the moment. Like I feel like he's just kind of he's just there. I don't know what it is with him at the moment this season. All the games I've watched in Manchester City and that he's obviously played in, I just feel like he's just there this season. You're not playing great, but you're there are times I do feel, yeah, he's coming on, he's not playing that well and stuff like that. Yes, I know beginning of the season didn't really start. Obviously, come back from the Euros and Pep's obviously trying to do the easing man in, kind of thing. I get all of that, but again, I expect more from you, especially again in this moment where you are missing players and you're missing these key players. This is now the time for you to stake your claim and say, I am the guy. Not to say we don't need those guys because we're talking about elite players in Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri, but at least say I am the guy now. You can rely on me, and we need more, in my opinion, from players like him. Like I said, he's had a couple good games. I'm not saying he's been poor or anything. It's just in some games I'm like, I expect a bit more from Phil Foden. I'll be honest with you. So. Little thing, even Bernardo Silva to a certain degree, I don't feel like he's been playing that well this season. I really don't. I feel like he needs to also, he's a senior player. He's in my eyes, I look at him, he's like one of the leaders of the team. I expect more from you. But then defensively, Jesus Christ. I know, listen, you guys just like Liverpool under Klopp, you like the risk versus reward thing, but yeah, you guys are taking it too far now. Taking it way too far. And again, that is becoming a problem for you guys. It's becoming a problem for Manchester City. And I think until they buck that up, and again, listen, look, things can change so quickly when it comes to, football and stuff like that. All it takes is one bad result for one team. And then all of a sudden, now things are like, oh no, so Liverpool just lost against Southampton and Man City won. And all of a sudden now the points difference is only 2. Things can change just like that. I know they can. And that's why we're just looking at it from this kind of perspective in terms of, me, I don't really like going too far, so to speak, in terms of how I feel like it's, it's actually going to go. Like I'm still looking at it and thinking this next set of games, like the next 10 games will give me the real indicate. Like that's when I'll really be like, I can at least hang my hat on a winner of the Premier League, obviously depending on what it looks like. Of course, obviously if everyone's on the same points after 20 games, then I don't know, obviously. But if we start seeing Liverpool pull away after the 20th game or 19th game, should I say, because that's then the halfway point of the season, I will then hang my hat on Liverpool. At the moment, I'm not going to do that, and obviously we'll speak more in tomorrow's one in regards to Liverpool. But yeah, at the moment I'm not there yet. Do I think any of these 4 teams can win the league? Yes, I do believe that. Looking at it on the face of it, depending on how things go, they all have a chance. Chelsea have a chance, Arsenal have a chance, City have a chance, Liverpool have a chance. I think those are the 4 teams I believe this season who will have a chance, just because I feel like they are the 4 teams who are just a little bit above everybody else in terms of the quality and stuff like that. Whether they can continue this, and listen, certain teams might drop out. We might come back after the 20th game and I'm doing another one of these title chances and someone else is getting thrown in there. I don't know. At the moment, I'm just going to go with the 4 because I look at these 4 and think, yeah, this season, I feel like they've been the 4 better teams, so to speak. Obviously, Nottingham Forest have done amazingly well. Do I believe that this is going to continue? No. And obviously, they've dropped out of that top 4 anyway. So, yeah, like that's one of those. And again, I would love to look at Nottingham Forest after 25 games and see that they're going hammer and tongs with Liverpool, for the title, and that would be brilliant. That would be really, really good for football, right? But these are the 4 teams that I believe anyway. And at this moment in time, yeah, that's how I kind of see it. Obviously, on tomorrow's one, when we do look at Liverpool, I'll kind of give you where I feel that everyone will kind of finish in terms of, if I just looked at it now after 11 games, this is how I feel like the Premier League, will finish up. And then obviously you guys can let me know, of course, in the comment section and stuff. But yeah, like I said, with Manchester City, they just need to buck up their ideas, man. Honestly, it's just weird seeing Manchester City like this, because it almost looks like they have it's like you've almost got no ideas, like you're running out of ideas, sort of thing, in terms of Pep Guardiola. This isn't the Pep Guardiola that I know, kind of thing. And at this moment in time, listen, man, Liverpool are ahead by 5 points and they don't really look like they're gonna, listen, we'll drop points at some point in the season. Of course we will, but when that time comes, I don't know where the rest of you guys will be in order for it to really matter. For all I know, we could be 8 points clear and we just drop points, like, you know, things like that, where you're like, all right, you drop points in one game. It's not a big deal, man. We just move on. These guys are so far behind, they're not going to catch us up anyway. But at this moment, yeah, Liverpool are the best team in the Premier League. Yeah, they've been the most consistent team. Of course, only lost one game this season, won every other game. So, yeah, at this moment in time, you know, when Manchester City are who they are, I feel like they almost need to remind themselves, and I feel like Pep needs to start reminding some of these players who they actually are, like your Manchester City. There's a reason why we call you guys the Mr. Inevitable. There's a reason why fans of other teams look at you and think, yeah, these men are just, they're just toying with us at the moment. They're just teasing us. You know what I'm saying? They're just teasing us at this moment in time, in regards to, yeah, they're making us think that, yeah, things are just not what it seems. And then they'll just come and slap you in the back of your head before they surpass you. But if you continue the way you're going, see that slap, Liverpool or Arsenal or Chelsea, they'll turn around and slap you back. Do you know what I mean? And push you straight back down. So just need to pattern it up for them. And then, of course, you know, they'll take it, you know, they'll kind of take it from there. But yeah, I think with Manchester City at this moment, as I said, check the comment section in terms of the percentage that I'm going to give them. Yeah, check the percentage I'm going to give them. And then let me know if you guys agree, you disagree. What do you think it is with Manchester City? What do you guys think realistically it is with Manchester City this season? Do you believe that they can come back, you know, in the title race? Heck, do you even think they're out of the title race first and foremost? And yeah, do you think they'll come back into it? Yeah, man. Let's kind of wait and see. It's going to be so interesting. I think they're a very interesting team this season. When I'm looking at them, if I look at like the fixtures that they've got, like I said, coming up, I mentioned obviously they've got Spurs. They've got so this is what they've got. They've got Spurs after the break at home. Then they've got obviously a Champions League game against Feyenoord at home. Liverpool away. Techie, I thought that was at home for them, but peak, it's not. Then they've got Forest at home, and then Crystal Palace away, and then Juventus away, you know, in the Champions League. So their next 6 games is tricky. Spurs, Forest, Liverpool, ish. Mixed in with 2 Champions League games and obviously Crystal Palace as well, ish. Yeah. This is really going to make or break for them. And then obviously they got Man United on the 15th of December, and then Aston Villa on the 21st, and then Everton on Boxing Day. Yo, like I said, when we come back, when we do the next set of games, so that'll probably take us to, like, if we're just looking on the face of it, if they're on 11 now, so what's that? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So yeah, 19 will take us literally probably like to the end of the year. So the 29th of December, 30th of December, that kind of period. We'll come back and do another title chances. By that point, yeah, I feel like City, if they're not careful, they will be out of it. And they really, because it's mad, because even their running like Feb is just as tricky. You know what I mean? And I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm looking at it now. End of Jan, they've got PSG in the Champions League. Then they've got Chelsea at home, Arsenal away, Newcastle at home, Liverpool at home in Feb. You know, away to Spurs in Feb. Yeah, these running games, they're not helping Manchester City at this current moment in time. So yeah, man, they need all the help that they can get at this moment in time. I just think need to buck up their ideas. Pep needs to find another solution. Otherwise, his team will fall away, and those title chances will be slimmer and slimmer until they reach 0. Let me know, of course, what you guys think in the comment section for Manchester City, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow with Liverpool. Peace.